Let's move on to work with the wires. First thing to do is strip them. To do this with our own hands, we will create a simple construction, which is suitable for cables of different thickness. Let's cover it with varnish and install a blade from an ordinary box cutter. Well, there, the mount is solid. You can check it out in action. As you can see, everything works great. Now let's fix the wires to the wall. It's often unreliable, but we know how to fix it. Just 2 parts. You cannot pull the plug out of the outlet. I don't understand why no one follows this simple rule. Well, let's make a sturdy attachment that will keep the cable from ripping off once again. And move on to the corrugated pipe. It's not hard to fasten it properly too. And it's a totally different thing. It's time to find out how the 3-way switch works. Trust me, it's a very handy thing that lets you control lights from different parts of the room. The important thing is to build the right circuit. Does it look like the outlet's about to fall off? That's not good. We need to fix it right away. Let's take it apart and make it as sturdy as possible. We'll have to use a gun to do it. No, not the one that you're thinking of, just a glue gun. Put the parts back in place. Now it's held firmly in place. Did the light bulb stop working? Maybe it's a blown diode. Let's take it apart and see. We suggest shortening it out. Grab your soldering iron, it's time to get started. And test it. It works. Burnt and shorted. These words often haunt electricians. Fortunately, professionals know how to prevent the problem. For example, you can connect the wires beforehand using the simple principle of stairs. Perfect! All that's left is to connect and insulate everything. This construction is not as sturdy as it looks. Maybe we could add some fire. I think it will help secure everything. However, why assume when you cannot test it? The final touch is that now all the wires are definitely protected. Junctions are the worst dream of anyone who has ever dealt with electrical work. They are so often unreliable. You need to fix the situation. Take note of a few successful and proven tricks. Really solid too. Check out a few more options. You will have to use pliers for these. This is even tighter than the sailing knot. A whole roll of duct tape can be difficult to slip through the small gaps between the wires. And finally, let's make an express phone charger, which will come in handy in case you don't have a regular one at hand.
Let's recycle this old plastic container to use as a shield on our bench grinder. We'll put a bracket on one end like so. Now we have protection from sparks. We can make some slits into this plastic tubing and then attach it to a bolt to to make a temporary drywall anchor. Now just an extra washer to make it more secure. Our next project is going to be a tool that helps us carve out hex nut indentations. We'll attach it to a bolt like so that it looks like this. Now we can trace out our hex nut and use our tool like a chisel and hammer it into the wood. Now everything fits perfectly. We want to remove this knot from this board. Drill it out, and then use a hole saw to cut out a round that's the same size as the hole that we drilled. Fill this hole with glue and insert the round. In this case, we're using a chisel and then a planer to level the surface. Let's create a tool that helps us easily cut out grooves in our foam panels. We'll drill these two pieces of wood together to make a right angle. Then we'll mount a snap blade to both sides of the tool. Now we can cut out a groove, which prevents a gap between these foam panels. Now we'll be building a bottle opener with a magnet inside out of this log. We'll cut out a plank like so, and then we'll trace where we want the magnet to be. Then using a drill and chisels, we can carve out a hole big enough for the magnet. We'll take apart this clamp and use the metal piece as our can opener. We'll attach it to the side opposite the magnet. Then add a bit of varnish. And now when we open our bottles, the caps stick to the board instead of falling onto the floor. We can cut out a strip of metal from this old can and use it to help us tear off pieces of tape. We'll be printing on a pre-printed image onto this log. We'll want to sand it first, and then we'll cut out the image and glue it onto the log. After soaking in water, we can peel off the plastic adhesive. And what's left on the log is our image. We can use this piece of wood from an old piece of furniture and turn it into a charging stand for our phone. We'll trace out the appropriate size and use a jigsaw to cut it out. Then, a bit of sanding paper to smooth off the edges. We'll use a washer to mark out where we'll cut the 3 holes. The 2 on the ends will be smaller, and the center hole will be larger. We'll install bolts into the smaller holes. These will act as stands. Now we can pass our charger through the center hole to charge our phone. This large plastic bottle will make a really convenient garbage can. We'll mark out most of the top, but leaving a little strip with the cap. It should look like this. Now we can attach it to the cabinet door underneath the sink to easily discard any scraps. If we remove the handle from this large plastic bottle, we can bend the tabs like so. This gives us a quick and easy phone stand. The blades on this grater are getting a little bit dull. To sharpen them, we can use the bottom of this ceramic cup. Good as new. We can also use the bottom of this mug to sharpen any ordinary knives as well. We need to pass some wire through this plastic tubing. and pushing it wouldn't be the best option. What we can do instead is cut out a little circle of foam that's about the same size as the tubing. We'll then pass a string through the center of the foam and fasten it with a knot. Now we'll use the vacuum to suck up the string until it passes all the way through the plastic tubing. As you can see, it's come out the other side. But we're not done. We want to pass the wire through the tubing, not just the string. We'll tie the string to one of the wires securely. Folding a single wire back on itself, and then wrapping everything with tape will ensure that the string doesn't slip off. Now we'll pull the string from the other end to pass it through the tubing. Once it's passed all the way through, we'll cut off any excess wire and tie a simple overhand knot to make sure that the wire doesn't slip back into the tubing. Here's a quick and easy life hack to help you tie your shoes if you're in a hurry. Here we have an ordinary coat hanger. If we cut the bottom rung in half, we can use this coat hanger to hang paper towels and toilet paper. Next, we have an ordinary piece of scrap wood. We can use our jigsaw to cut it into the shape of the letter P. Then we'll hammer a nail onto the top. And we can use our new tool to help us open cans more easily. If you need to remove a nail that's lost its head, try using a pair of pliers for extra grip. Our next project will be building a mousetrap. Don't worry, this one isn't dangerous. Start by cutting out a board that's the same width as the bottle. We'll want to find the balance point on this bottle and make 2 marks on both sides and drill holes where the marks are. We'll attach support beams to both sides of our board. Line everything up and drill 2 holes at the same level onto the beams. Screw in 2 bolts on both beams and put the bolts through the holes of the bottle. Tighten the bolts. The bottle should rock back and forth like so. Now we'll cut out a little ramp. All that's left to do is leave some treats inside the bottle. And our last project of this episode is going to be a bird feeder. We'll connect 2 plastic bottles together. We'll just need to make a couple of holes in the bottles for the bird seeds. We can also attach a popsicle stick to give the birds a place to land. Now we'll just fill the bottles with bird seeds.